Several signals this week reinforce one idea Tesla investors need to understand. The first mover to scale has a tremendous advantage, and it matters. Across Robotaxi, Starlink, and Neuralink as examples, the same pattern keeps showing up. Tesla and Elon Musk-led companies moved early, learned in the real world, and has been innovating at lightning speed. Everyone else, they're still just trying to enter. And when they do finally enter, competition isn't just harder, it becomes irrational. Competitors will have higher costs, less data, slower learning, and smaller markets. For Robotaxi, when Tesla unleashes autonomy, Tesla can scale faster than anyone else because it already builds the cars, runs the software, and controls production. A 20-cent per mile price becomes a weapon, and price determines adoption. Dan Ives from Wedbush predicts Tesla will dominate the market, claiming 80% share in 2026. Same thing is happening for Starlink and Neuralink and many other Musk companies, all of which compound and support each other. It's not about being early or being the first mover, so much as being early to truly understand the entire solution. We got Larry Goldberg here with us today. He's a serial entrepreneur. He's been an active venture capital investor for the last decade. Check out lumicente.com. Welcome, Larry.
Thank you. Great to be here.
It's a great topic. It's right up your alley. This is the one that I really want to hear from you. This is a fun one. I know that you've been in business, tackling and competing right out there, and you understand how the world works and the world has changed. This comes from an article that Warren Redlich produced, and I thought it was a good one. And I can have you kind of tell me where you think it's true and where it isn't. And he's saying here that, it talks about Neuralink, it talks about Starlink, it talks about Robotaxi, and he says that, let's just talk Neuralink as an example. In a few years, Neuralink will help 100,000th patient, okay, using perhaps a fourth-gen chip. Not long after that, it'll be their millionth patient. Now, he's talking like many years later. When will the first competitor try to enter this market? If you need a brain implant, okay, so let's say they do come, would you choose the experienced Neuralink team on their fourth or fifth generation chip, or a newcomer with higher costs and less advanced technology? The second place competitor has no chance of success. It's so obvious that few investors would put up the funds necessary to make it happen at scale. There's one other startup in space, Synchron, but their funding is much lower and their performance is much less. Neuralink will continue to innovate because they have a driven team, and every new generation of tech makes the product appealing. The same logic applies to SpaceX, Starlink, Tesla's Robotaxi, and possibly to NVIDIA's chip business and Tesla Optimus as well. So in Starlink, he says that, you have a satellite fleet, you have a tech lead, you have satellite costs, you have launch costs, you have customer base, you have innovation culture, all of this. How is it possible at this point while other companies could even compete in the same way? So you can see his logic there. What's your thoughts, Larry?
Well, my very good friend Warren, I have to critique him a little here. Mm-hmm. There is more than one other competitor company in the Neuralink space. I mentioned just one, Paradromics, which is a company I looked at quite seriously, and they are a serious company with very significant technology. What distinguishes Neuralink from Paradromics and from every other company, and by the way, there's more than just Paradromics, there are other companies as well, is, Tesla is Elon's unique sense of product. He's one of the greatest product managers ever lived. He's right up there, I won't rank great product managers, but I will say that Elon figured out at the beginning, against the opinions of the founders of his co-founders of that company, that the chip had to be standalone without any connections. Like they had originally had a device that is behind the ear and then connected to a probe in the brain. He said, no, everything has to be in the brain, nothing external at all, not even the charger connection. That has to be, through the skin. It was essential to the simplicity and the elegance of the product, and the ability of people to wear it without anybody being aware that they're wearing it. So I mention this because the other companies are not pursuing that particular route to the market. What this does is it changes the product in so many ways that only a mind like Elon could see, in terms of what does the product have to be at the end point, not how do we get something that will function in the brain but can have battery life and can have power to communicate across a fairly large space, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, we'll put an external device. That's the simple answer. It doesn't work for Elon. And so what distinguishes Elon's companies is this extraordinary concept of a product and how it will advance the human experience. So that's what makes Neuralink so unique and dramatic. If you think about every product that Elon makes, he takes that additional step forward, So I think that's the magic.
He's not just obviously innovating and creating deciding what to do, but he's thought about the entire scale, and he wants to get out there at scale. And if you do, competitors just won't be able to compete. So let's talk with the one that is most dear to Tesla investors' heart, which is Robotaxi. So, Warren says, okay, picture 2030, right? By 2030, Tesla will have a fleet of 10 million robotaxis across most of the US, Canada, Japan, maybe China, still growing quickly. The robotaxis operate at 20 cents per mile. Waymo, current cost per mile was supposedly about $1.50 per mile, but maybe a lot higher. So far, they do not appear to ready to scale and can't manufacture their own cars. There's no obvious competitor to Tesla in the robotaxi space, except possibly in China. For another company to compete with Tesla in the robotaxi space, they'll have to solve a variety of costly problems, especially getting billions of miles of real-world driving data trained to software. Everyone, including Chinese, is 5 years behind or more. So it's 2030. Another competitor says, okay, I want to get in too, or they've been trying to get in, but their self-tech driving tech is 3 years behind. They can't beat Tesla in price. They don't have as much number of people out there. And he's saying that matters. I mean, that's why Uber dominates Lyft, and they have much smaller set of advantages. And then knowing that ahead of time, why would investors bet on a company for second place? Now, I think he's wrong there. There's a huge market. There's a lot to be made still. I would still be number two, even if you're far number two. But he's saying that, this kind of first mover advantage is something you can apply for NVIDIA and the AI chip center sector. Even Tesla trying to create their own chip gave up with a little bit dojo because NVIDIA was just so far ahead and kept getting further ahead. And then he thinks the same thing will apply to Tesla's humanoid robotics. This idea that it's not just first mover, but if you have the full scale and you have the full system, then it becomes really hard for other competitors to even compete.
Yeah, and again, I would add, and if you have the unique design, if you have the winning design, I think product design is everything. I mean, why did Apple win the iPhone war, the phone war? Because they had this unique capability at the top end of the market, and they just own that top end of the market. Yeah, there are quite a few phone companies in Huawei in China, and Samsung in the rest of the world that compete very handily, but nobody turns the profit and the revenue that Apple is able to get out of the iPhone. Apple's so I think product is a dominant factor. Yes, scale is dominant. Yes, method of manufacturing is dominant. All of those are important, but I think above all is product. And so I think more than anything else, that's the area that Tesla, that Elon's companies dominate. And there's another factor, and that is Elon's single-mindedness. You know, it is really, really hard to compete against Elon. Really, really hard to get. He is absolutely single-minded. And he's single-minded in both ways. He's single-minded getting towards the target, and he's also single-minded in deciding to cut where he thinks that he's not going to be able to achieve that goal. And he's done that all his life, and he's done incredibly well at doing it.
He is incredible. Just listen to Dan Ives a little bit. He thinks Tesla will have 80% of the share in 2026.
First, and then I'll sort of delve into this more. Tesla 600, it's not a car story. Do you see 800? Do you see 1,000? Would that be crazy or no? I mean, that's where it's headed.
Base case 600, bull case 800. I mean, to me, when it comes to Tesla, that's one, like, this is the most important year, I'd say, for Musk, maybe ever, because of autonomous, because of robotics, because of where they're heading down this AI path. I mean, to some extent, it's an extremely important time for Tesla. Because look, there's obviously competition across the board. Some could argue NVIDIA is a competitor, but I just believe when it comes to the autonomous world, they're going to own 80% of the market when it's all said and done. But 30 cities, you need robotaxis this year. It's integral, you know.
Okay, that was a while back, of course, in November 26th. So he obviously didn't get there, but still, it's about a race, and it's not like others are catching up anytime soon. That's what he said. But what's interesting here is that in Master Plan Part 2, and I think that this was 2018, this is 7 years ago, this is what Elon had written. He goes, when true self-driving is approved by regulators, it will mean that you'll be able to summon your Tesla from pretty much anywhere. Once it picks you up, you'll be able to sleep, read, or do anything en route to your destination. You'll also be able to add your car to the Tesla shared fleet just by tapping a button on the Tesla phone app. Have it generate income for you while you're at work on vacation, significantly offsetting at times potentially exceeding the monthly loan or lease cost. This dramatically lowers the true cost of ownership to the point where almost anyone could own a Tesla. Since most cars are only in use by their owner for 5 to 10% of the day, the fundamental economic utility of a true self-driving car is likely to be several times that of a car which is not. In cities where demand exceeds the supply of customer-owned cars, Tesla will operate its own fleet, ensuring you can always hail a ride from us no matter what. So in one way, people go, yeah, you said this 2018, and you kept promising it's going to happen this year. It didn't happen. But another way, here's 2026, and here we are. It's happening. This is happening now.
But look how complete. Yeah, look how complete and how far-seeing his vision was back then.
Yeah.
Here we are 8 years later, and it's clearly still the principal target. And Tesla is still completely, way ahead of the rest of the field. You could argue, well, Waymo's been doing this for 3 years or 2 years or whatever the period is. I think it's 3 years, but 2 years without a supervisor. So they must be way ahead. But read again his criteria. Read again his product design. Waymo doesn't meet that product design. Mm-hmm. And that's, that goes back to what I'm trying to say. He's relentless. He keeps going until he can achieve the impossible. And it's the impossible that really that is the product market fit. Waymo is not a product market fit. Waymo is just a way for, the Ubers of this world to supply a better product, a better experience than their existing experience. What Tesla's putting into the market is a completely different product. Mm-hmm. And yes, it's true that, NVIDIA will pursue the same goal, and many of the Chinese companies will pursue the same goal. It's very difficult for me to see how any Western vehicle manufacturer will be able to use the NVIDIA solution economically. A, they can't manufacture a car economically. B, the NVIDIA solution is going to cost a large amount of money. The Chinese, though, will evolve a solution that will be competitive and will be functional against the Tesla product. Hopefully the rest of the world will keep them out until their operational costs normalize across the world and their costs cost as much as US cars or European cars.
I love, I mean, the thing about Elon is he thought about this a decade ago. And these things also, he goes, okay, what do we need? So he starts planning superchargers. We need every car needs to have cameras, and they have to stay that way, capturing data. And he's got every car, and we need to have our own silicon. So let's go. NVIDIA won't be able to create what we need. So like years and years ago, all these build
Talk
up.
about product management. Can you imagine starting an EV company and putting as a priority building chargers worldwide?
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
think about the vision and the courage to make an investment of that nature when you haven't even got an electric car that you're selling in volume.
Right. He in his mind, it's already sold in volume, and that's why he's already thinking. So that's why I'm saying that even though he said this in 2018, and critics will say it never happened, but because he said in 2018, they've been building all the things you need to happen in order for when it does happen to be fully supported. And one of the things you talked about is infrastructure. So we need to have sales centers everywhere. We need to have service centers everywhere. We need to have superchargers everywhere. And that's where we're at. The other thing that we're talking about here is, like, how do you compete with a company who's a car company creating electric vehicles? Then they're creating megapacks, and then they're creating robots, then they're creating AI data centers, and all this needs batteries. And here's the largest lithium refinery in America is now operational. Tesla decided that they would do this. And I'll play this video, but you'll see that it ushers in energy independence for North America, regionalized access to critical battery minerals, brings jobs, cuts emissions, and helps accelerate emission. What is the expected capacity in terms of vehicles per year? According to Grok, he said that this one lithium refinery is designed to produce enough battery-grade lithium for approximately 1 million electric vehicles per year. 1 million. And then this is more advanced than you think. It's the first in North America to convert raw, I don't know what this, spodumene ore directly to battery-grade lithium hydroxide. It went from groundbreaking to first production in just 19 months. Oh man, it was just yesterday when I heard them say, we're going to get into lithium factory too. And Elon said, essential piece of the puzzle. The nickel cathode refinery is another thing that's important. But
this refinery is spodumene, the lithium hydroxide refinery in North America. We're deploying a new technology platform that is inherently much more environmentally friendly and cleaner. It's a simpler process. It's a less expensive process. I'm Jason Bevan. I'm the site manager for Tesla's Gulf Coast Lithium Refinery, just outside of Corpus Christi, Texas. Spodumene is a lithium-containing ore. It's a hard rock material that is rich in lithium.
We sustainably source spodumene and bring it to site, where we then run it through a series of conveyance systems, take it through a kiln and cooler. From there, we take it through an alkaline leach and additional purification steps, take it into crystallization and produce battery-grade lithium hydroxide. Our process is more sustainable than traditional methods and eliminates hazardous byproducts and instead produces a co-product named analcime used in concrete mixes.
From breaking ground in 2023 to running rock through the kiln in 2024 to start a full integrated plant startup now in 2025, we've achieved the fastest time to market for this first of its kind technology. By removing many of the traditional stage gate hurdles seen in large projects, we were able to complete feasibility, design, and construction in parallel, significantly accelerating our construction timeline.
This refinery really enables us to have access to the critical minerals for energy storage, for battery manufacturing, and ultimately for EV growth. And it enables us to accelerate Tesla's mission by regionalizing supply chains for battery minerals and materials, by providing jobs, by cutting emissions from the transportation network that's required for those supply chains. It really allows us to usher in energy independence for North America.
Oh my gosh. When you see that thing, it's not like a side project. This is like a whole company, factory, 2 years, 2.5 years. And then they've reinvented all sorts of things.
Two observations. They started the feasibility at the same time as they started the design at the same time as they started the construction. Think about that. What private company, for that matter, in the United States of America start all three of those at the same time and keep iterating on it until they're done? I mean, if that's not unique anywhere in the world, that's kind of like they built the atomic bomb in Alamogordo. I mean, it's unheard of. Two things, though, I should also observe is there are going to be two sides to that factory. We're only seeing one side. That's the first part they built. It can only generate enough lithium for 500,000 cars. They've got to have both running for 1 million cars. So I think the second line will they'll probably wait until the cab is under production, because that's going to be the truck is going to require that additional
Semi
lithium. Yeah.
It's crazy. I mean, we know that BYD is also a battery manufacturer. That's great. But again, if you're trying to compete with Tesla and they come out and they go mass scale and they capture and they don't rely on other suppliers for things that are most critical for them, they build it themselves, they do it at this level. How do you compete with that, right?
It's very tough. It's very tough.
And in terms of the batteries, the megapacks, Tesla won. They're the leading in battery storage systems. Yeah. One of only 2 AAA rated companies. You win this, you're so much better. You've got by the way, you also have their AI system that manages it. And how do you compete as competitors? Eventually, right? It's It's just one little thing after another. And then now your favorite topic, Tesla Semi. So Tesla doesn't just do cars, they do semis. They've been thinking about this for a long time. And they've got a new version, a redesigned Tesla Semi for the first time, Model Y light bar, more efficient, increased payload capability. It's like they keep iterating, they keep improving. Designed for autonomy, by the way. That's the most important line right there. Because again, what other semi manufacturer do you know actually also designs the autonomy part of it? And they combine it together. So this is volume production. It's going to start very, very soon. This is the next generation. I think they call it Alpha that they've seen out there. I mean, guess what? Because they've got Tesla has their own superchargers. I think they just announced that they're creating the largest supercharger somewhere in California. So
the supercharger. So this is called a mega charger. It's capable of throughputs far in excess of the current superchargers, and they're adding mega chargers now to these very large installations of superchargers. I think they're planning the largest in the country shortly in California, and they will have mega chargers there too. And the entire installation will be supplied by close proximity of solar cells, solar power. Amazing product and amazing product concepts.
I mean, I think that's what it is, right? Tesla and Elon is thinking, we're going to revolutionize transportation. We're going to make autonomous transportation. What does that mean? Well, it means all this, first cars, then a semi. Eventually he'll get into boats, and at some point, planes. But that's his goal. And so we need to have charging system. We need to have manufacturing. And now they're here. And so when other car companies or other semi-trucking companies want to do this, where do they charge? And then they don't get to benefit from the batteries that they're creating, the lithium that they're creating.
One of the great advantages of the semi, I believe, is going to be when it becomes autonomous, it's going to be far more impactful on safety on our roads than almost any other factor you could name. I think it would have I think that making the semi-autonomous could bring down deaths by 20-30% on its own.
Just a quick one here is Road One, a major U.S. short distance and logistics provider, has added to its Tesla Semi to its fleet, 10 truck fleet, plans a 10 truck fleet. So we're on our way. The early success is what prompted Road One to move forward with a broader deployment plan that could see as many as 10 semis running around in their region. I mean, it's no doubt at this point that it's a winner, and they've redesigned it. This is version 2. And I think that's the part of the point, It's like, you got to get going. You got to start manufacturing a bunch, redesign it. People go, oh, you're late. But who else is there? Who else is mass producing this at this level and has a factory now that's put up? And then it's got everything in place that they, the autonomy part of it, the charging part of it, the manufacturing part of it.
I don't think we'll see really massive volumes in that product until next year.
Yeah.
But I think that's what it's going to take to get to volume.
So altogether, right, Elon thinks this way. This first mover to scale idea, just thoughts on that. Yes, there's going to be competitors. We do not underestimate competitors, especially if the market is massive and there's huge, gains, rewards to be made. They should be competitors. There will be competitors. But this idea that Tesla is behind or somehow they're going to lose, I can't understand why people don't look at the full view, not just Waymo is competing with the tech. But then they have no manufacturing, they have no infrastructure, they have no ability to, get these things at a low cost. Why do you compare it to them? Yes, they're they might license it. Yes, they might partner with others, but until you start seeing that, Tesla's the only one with a full system. And then once by the time they do come out,
it's hard to see why people.
Yeah, I was just gonna say,
It's
even
hard
like
to see why people. Yeah. I'll try it again.
Go ahead, you go ahead.
It's very hard to see why people have this antipathy. I know it's politically motivated. I don't understand this focus on politics, this focus on who is more moral than the other. But if you look at the track record, it's absolutely clear.
Yeah, I was just saying that, this idea that, yes, the tech will eventually be commodity. Okay, I get that. Let's say that's true because it's not. But let's say when. So that's part of the debate is when. Is it going to be 6 months, as Gary Black says, or is it 3 years, as even the Chinese CEOs themselves are saying? We're 2 years behind. Okay, let's say that they do get the tech 2 years from now, but by that point, what's the scale advantage? What's the cost? You have to now think about the changed world at that point of where you're coming in. Where's Tesla? Now, if Tesla's delayed and the others catch up, then that can happen. But as we've talked about here, Tesla's not just creating the tech, they're creating the cars. They've created the very first Robotaxi first designed cybercab. They've created a whole new way to manufacture that cybercab to bring down the costs that they've been working on for 4 years. All those cybercabs, superchargers everywhere. By the way, I've been hearing from people saying that Tesla could easily say no to using the superchargers for other robotaxis. They'll let it for other vendors, but not robotaxi vendors. What do they do at that point, right? They'll find their own way. They need to create that. And then Starlink can give internet access or so more communications capability, entertainment. Yeah.
Why would Tesla allow any robotaxi, including their own, to charge at superchargers? Why wouldn't they just restrict the use of robotaxis charging to
their own
on-site chargers? Yeah.
Yeah.
And that would be the obvious move to me. And they shouldn't be superchargers. They should be, induction chargers. Anyway, that's just, I don't know how quickly the induction program is going to be able to be implemented.
And the final thing I want to just touch upon, we've had many shows on this, is that, okay, so you've got Elon Musk-led companies. You got the Robotaxi, you have Starlink, you have Neuralink, you have Optimus bots, you have all these. that they converge, they help each other. And Starlink is a very good example where Starlink, we've seen patents for Tesla cars to embed, the ability to embed a Starlink somewhere on the roof, those kind of things. It's like one advantage helps the other advantage.
Right.
Do you have thoughts on that? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's all product design. It's all about product. It's all about thinking about how to make this really work for people and help it answer a human problem, a real problem, a problem that, is going to make, the life better for people. So when you think about it that way, you're not thinking about it as a specific product for a particular, fix a particular problem. You're thinking about the whole experience, the whole human approach.
Wonderful. Great conversation. Appreciate it, Larry. I'll always love these kinds of deep dives with you to truly understand what's going on. Thank you to Warren, too, for bringing up this topic of first mover to scale. Thank you. Follow Larry on his X account at Tesla Larry and check out his website, lumacenti.com. I've created a website that is the most comprehensive resource for the Tesla investor. Please check it out. Simply go to my website at herbertong.com.